The Greg Kelly Show.
So, a new development, but we don't know for sure. You've heard the three names, Burgum, Rubio, and Vance. There's a new one that's getting all kinds of attention right now, and we're expecting to have the official word in 2 hours as to who it is. Glenn Youngkin, Virginia governor, is now being mentioned a lot as the possibility here, a strong possibility, and it would make sense. You know, the other day he signaled, President Trump did, his team did, that they suddenly are thinking about a nominee who could help him get elected. It's interesting. That was for a long time, Trump was convinced that whoever you pick is not going to get you elected, is not going to help you get elected. And there is some traditional thought that backs that up. Legend almost. I actually said out loud that it was extinct. And maybe they should think about somebody who can win a state. Those good old-fashioned days. Lyndon Johnson could actually win Texas, helped win Texas. Now, Glenn Youngkin, Virginia's been blue for a long time. I think the last time I went red was 2004, if then. So it's been blue for a long time. Could Glenn Youngkin, the Virginia governor, who I know very little about, he's not been in politics for all that long. I think he was elected, in 2022. So that means he became governor last year, right? His first political job. He's in his late 50s, if not early 60s. I'm going to get his age here in a moment. I think he's one of those Harvard guys, Harvard MBA, worth close to $1 billion. He worked at the Carlyle Group, which is Swamp City in my book. So he's not exactly, MAGA through and through in our book. Then again, he's a smart man, I'm told, and a man of integrity. Happens to be about 6'7" tall, ludicrously tall. I don't know. Could it be him? And now, can a governor in this day and age carry a state? Does it work that way? A lot of folks have thought for a long time it didn't. That Nixon was the one who famously said, "A vice president can't help you; he can only hurt you." And that's one of the reasons why he picked a nobody named Spiro Agnew. Okay, he's got some job in politics. He looks good, great dresser, not going to do any harm. Although ultimately he did a lot of harm. No fuss, no muss. It's a 6-hour story, and then you move on. You don't really focus on I always thought that was a missed opportunity, and that people took that too close to heart, too close. Now, then again, Al Gore lost Tennessee in 2000 when he was running for president, but he hadn't been in Tennessee for a long time. If Glenn Youngkin gets chosen and Glenn Youngkin can actually win Virginia, is that the thinking? I don't know. I also know this. It does look a lot different than it does on Friday, right? People are talking out loud, and some were, even Democrats before Friday, that this could be a landslide election for Trump. The chances of a landslide for Trump are much greater than Joe Biden just barely eking out a victory. Joe Biden is toast. And, oh, by the way, that speech last night that he had for, what do they call it, the unity speech, he said like 16 different weird things in it. We got that thing handy? I think we do. He said, we need change. We need change at the battle box. We need change at the battle box. He said it twice. What about the ballot box? He called it the battle box. I don't trust these guys at all. Yeah? All right. He screws up everything. Doesn't bother to call President Trump president, and he's sitting in the Oval Office, and then he says things that are the opposite of what I suppose he wanted to mean, but maybe he didn't. Go ahead.
My fellow Americans, I want to speak to you tonight about the need for us to lower the temperature in our politics. And to remember, while we may disagree, we are not enemies. We're neighbors. We're friends, co-workers, citizens, and most importantly, we're fellow Americans. We must stand together. Yesterday's shooting at Donald Trump's rally in Pennsylvania calls on all of us to take a step back. Take stock of where we are, how we go forward from here. Thankfully, former Trump is not seriously injured. I spoke with him last night. I'm grateful. He's doing well, and Jill and I keep him and his family in our prayers. We also extend our deepest condolences to the family of the victims who was killed. Corey was a husband, a father, a volunteer firefighter, a hero, sheltering his family from those bullets.
Hey, stop. Does Corey have a last name? You know? Was it too hard for Joe Biden to pronounce? Probably. Compatori? I'm actually a little bit unsure of the pronunciation myself. But you know what? The president, Oval Office address, say his full name. Keep going.
His family and all those injured in our prayers. Earlier today, I spoke about an ongoing investigation. We do not know the motive of the shooter yet. We don't know his opinions or affiliations. We don't know whether he had help or support.
Stop. And I think it's going to stay that way thanks to what appears to me to be potentially a cover-up. Can't believe it. This guy, 20-year-old kid, no social media profile whatsoever. Hey, you hear this also? This kid, this 20-year-old, 2 years ago when he was in high school, was in a commercial for BlackRock. BlackRock, that huge globalist firm that the Larry Fink, he says a lot of crazy, weird stuff. I know he's a brilliant businessman, I'm told, but he's definitely a globalist. And sometimes I've heard him say things like, yeah, we need human beings to, we're going to engineer the way they behave and just crazy stuff. Hey, this just in. Fox News is reporting that Rubio is definitely not the vice presidential pick. Okay. All right. Rubio is not and this is what I heard from my sources. The whole thing of Rubio being from Florida really kind of concerned them. It wasn't, the Constitution says you can't be from the same state. Now, there is a way around that. You just kind of move out of the state before you become vice president. Dick Cheney did that. But they think that the Democrats are so, the lawfare, and they would find a way to legally make the Florida electoral votes not count, potentially, and say that the whole thing is unconstitutional. I think that was working against him. Donald Trump is no longer from New York. He's registered in Florida. That's his formal address. All right, keep going with this nonsense.
We communicate with anyone else. Law enforcement professionals, as I speak, are investigating those questions. Tonight, I want to speak to what we do know. A former president was shot, an American citizen killed, while simply exercising his freedom to support the candidate of his choosing. We cannot, we must not go down this road in America. We've traveled before throughout our history. Violence has never been the answer. Whether it's with members of Congress of both parties being targeted and shot, or a violent mob attacking the Capitol on January 6th. Stop
for a second. All right, now I can't go through the whole damn thing. I don't want to. And this stuff about, I don't want anybody to be violent. But the whole idea that violence is never the answer, right? It's almost like they're daring us to push back on that. They're daring us to push back on that because our country was founded basically, it was violence. The American Revolution. It was violent. The government became despotic and people revolted. And it says right in the Declaration of Independence that if that happens, there's a duty to revolt and throw off that. So they're daring us to have that conversation. This is what I say. We're not there yet. Okay. We're not nearly there yet. Right. But it's not inconceivable that the government would get totally out of control. I mean, by putting people under its control. It's one of the reasons why there's the Second Amendment. Joe Biden, it's funny, I am all diplomatic and trying to, tiptoe around this. Joe Biden has come right out and boasted that they would use F-15s against people. The Second Amendment is nothing compared to what the government has, an F-15. You act up, the government is going to take out its F-15s and take out American citizens. He said that. The other thing is Joe Biden doesn't do any introspection in this speech, not a whiff of it. That he's the one who's said things that, quite frankly, are just, arguably, you can't say. Arguably, this is illegal, or it's dangerous. I'll say it's dangerous. What we did here is we have Joe Biden speaking from that speech and others where he's, calling for unity. And then we interspersed it with the nasty stuff that he said, right? Do you have that one, please? It's, let me see here. Philadelphia speech, Biden Philly speech, and making threats, mega threats. Thomas Crooks, CBS, Black Rock. Do you have it? All right, we'll come back to it, but it's pretty interesting. It's back and forth, and he's done a lot of that. All right, I can't stand Jesse Waters, but I love Bongino. I love Dan Bongino. And by the way, Jesse Waters, he's talented. All right. He rubs me the wrong way, but he's totally talented. I get it. It's personal, to be honest. So, he's good at what he does. Bongino and Jesse, go ahead. Cut 11.
Some of the Secret Service agents, I just don't know if they had the stature that I would expect to see and the gravitas that I would expect to see protecting the former president.
Well, the rule is maximum to the protectee, minimum to the problem, right? Because you don't know how many problems there are. So if you try to rush to one problem, like the Malcolm X shooting, and there's another problem over there, you're going to wind up getting dead quick. So they did the right thing by rushing to the protectee. On the evac out, yeah, you do see a couple of agents who one couldn't reholster the weapon and things like this. So, there were some definite.
And the other one was like 5'4".
Yeah, I mean, you're going to find out in the coming weeks that the physical fitness standards for men and women are different. That's weird because the protectee's weight and height doesn't change for a man or a woman.
Does Cheadle get fired anytime soon?
She needs to go immediately. She has disgraced the Secret Service multiple times. She needs to go. She needs to be fired ASAP, but Mayorkas doesn't have the cojones to do it.
Huh.
Biden.
One of the reasons why we like Bongino is Secret Service background. He's been there. There are pictures of him. He's been on Obama's detail. And this whole fixation on diversity. All right, I am going to say something in defense of those women. Some people are saying the women, who are kind of scrambling around. Number one, I don't think they should have been there in the first place because they're just not big enough. All right, that's what he was talking about with the stature. You never find a bouncer who's a petite woman. Why would you have, protecting a nightclub? Why would you have a petite woman protecting the president? That makes no sense. Having said that, I do believe that they were providing a function when they were do you remember how they were looking outwardly, even the woman who couldn't holster her gun, right? And she did, ultimately, she did. It was their job to look. They were kind of protecting the group that was bringing the president into the vehicle. I would love to know why the hell it didn't hit the gas. Did you see how slowly it got out of there? Anyway, so you got a big group of Secret Service agents. They're hugging the president, literally. They're putting their bodies against his to protect him. The bullet will hit them first, I suppose, right? You take a bullet for the guy. So they're doing that, and then somebody has to protect them. Let's just pretend the crowd rushed them or something like that. Not to kill them, but to just get involved. They have to be there. That little group, that cell of people, and the nucleus being Donald Trump, has to be kind of provided immediate security. And that's what those women were doing, I believe. That's what I've also been told, and it makes sense. But they were kind of scrambling around, and they were nervous. Adrenaline is pumping, and nobody was rushing them, so they didn't have a clear function for a moment or two. The vehicle left way too slowly. That was weird. This BlackRock thing is totally weird, that this Crooks, the assassin, attempted assassin, all he did assassinate Corey, that he should appear in a BlackRock commercial. You know how crazy that is? BlackRock was trying to do this image polishing about hey, we're not some big bad globalist firm. We actually do investing for teachers unions, and here's a teacher. And it was like this nice kind of regular guy teacher talking about what a great thing BlackRock is. And then he's teaching math class, and there's Crooks in the first row raising his hand. I mean, was everybody in that commercial paid? Actually, I'm sure they were. I was an extra once in a magazine ad, and I got a check when I was in fourth grade. Ricky Schroeder was the main guy. Oh, I have this too. Doug Burgum has been informed that he is not the vice presidential choice. So it looks like what Donald Trump is doing is calling all the guys who are not going to be the guy. That's kind of customary, right? You let them know that. So it's down to, let's see, Vance, Vance and Tim Scott and Youngkin. And I think it's going to be, then again, it could be somebody total. We could know after the commercial break. Be right back.
Greg Kelly. is the Greg Kelly Show.
And with all that's going on, kind of eclipses the amazing news about the documents case, the fake documents case. Remember when they raided Mar-a-Lago? Those thugs, they raided Mar-a-Lago. They had no business doing that. None. Zero. The whole damn thing was a total fraud perpetrated by the government. And that case has been dismissed by Judge Aileen Cannon in a Florida courtroom. Judge Cannon says that Jack Smith, his very kind of job, his role in all of this is illegal. It's not constitutional. You can't have a guy like that doing what he's doing without congressional approval. And he doesn't have it. He was the U.S. attorneys. You should have thought about a U.S. attorney. You shouldn't have. You guys played a game. You wanted Jack Smith because you knew he was a weirdo, loose cannon that you guys could control, who would have no problem indicting people, even though he didn't have a case against them, right? I mean, poor Governor McConnell, I think his name was, McDonald of Virginia. That guy, they arrested him. They dragged him into federal court, lengthy trial, gets convicted. And then the United States Supreme Court, 8-0, threw the whole damn thing out. The whole case was illegal. The whole case was a setup. Well, with a jury of their peers. You know how hard it is once the government sets their sight on you, right? You're in big, big, big trouble. And that's something else that I think needs to be reevaluated going forward. The government with its unlimited resources. That's why most people have to take a plea. Most people don't have Donald Trump money. They can't defend themselves in court. You know how much this is? They can't raise money coast to coast for tens of millions of dollars that it would cost. I had a lawyer write a letter for me once. The bill was $10,000. What? You call these guys on the phone, you speak to them for 10 seconds, you get a bill for $5,000. It's crazy. Crazy. For nothing. And look at him. He's indicted for all over the place. Anyway, that case goes away. And remember, he's the special prosecutor in the January 6th nonsense as well. Does that case get dismissed? Now, it's another judge who's far more favorable to the government, the corrupt government in this case, Judge Chutkan. But the lawyer representing Trump on that is one of my favorite people in the world, John Lauro. And that case is a fake one as well. January 6th, right? You guys have obsessed about it for 2-3 years. Didn't work, did it? Huh? Right? You thought it would scare us? No, your lies don't. We see right through it.
You're listening to the Greg Kelly Show.
All right. I have a special way of contacting the president. I use it very, very sparingly. I am going to say I just got an email, not from the special way, okay? I just got this email. Millions of other people got the same email from President Trump, and it says, Vice President announcement today. Should I pick the Vice President today? But I still haven't made my final decision. Before I make one of the most important decisions of the campaign, I need to hear from you now, asking one final time, who should I pick as vice president? And you can respond. Let's see what happens when I respond. I have a feeling this is a little bit of a fundraising thing. Could it be? Oh, actually, yes. All right, at the bottom, but it's not. It's really not obnoxious at all. I love it. I love it. I love this kind of marketing, and it's good. He's asking us. And he asked a lot of people, although I do believe he has made up his mind, and we could find out any minute. We know it's not Rubio, according to reports. We know it's not Burgum, according to reports. And that's it. Those are the only ones who have been ruled out. That leaves Tim Scott. Apparently, they're talking about Glenn Youngkin and J.D. Vance, and who knows who else it could be. David, hello, and Great Neck.
How are you, Greg?
Good.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Greg, I listened to your show today. I was waiting for you. I got to tell you that I was very impressed with the entire show, and I'm sorry I missed the talking when Ray Kelly was on. I find this whole thing with the attempted assassination of Donald Trump so vile that I actually literally cried. I was watching it on TV live. And I believe that while there's enough energy to go around with keeping our eye on the Secret Service and how they made such a vile error, I want to mention, call your attention, one of the quotes I can't stand when I hear, how could we prevent an incident like this from ever taking place again? This is such BS. It happened already elsewhere. It happened in Las Vegas. You had 50,000 people at a concert. Some jerk is all the way high up in a building and shoots people. So the Pennsylvania police didn't even have the brains to protect the attendees. You have the Secret Service. Their sole job is to make sure that the president is secure. But you also had a responsibility to protect the people. We lost a firefighter. And I want to tell you, if her words ever meant something to me, I believe when Michelle Obama said, when they go low, we go high, that should be the Secret Service motto forever, because that's what she probably meant. She couldn't have meant anything else. When they go low, we go high.
Now that is interesting. When they go low, we go high. Now I know what you're getting at. All right. I mean, that's a fascinating way to put it. When they go low, we go high. We get some high ground and we take a rifle out and we shoot. Is that that's what you're saying?
That roof being empty is textbook 1.1. This was crazy.
Yeah, no. It's criminal. It's absolutely criminal. It's totally criminal. And it is. I mean, look, I am suspicious of everything, especially the government under Joe Biden. Especially. Thank you, David, very much. That's interesting. When they go low, we go high. Could she have been meaning a sniper's perch, high ground? I don't think so. However. I'm suspicious of everybody and everything. Linda, hello.
Hi, Greg. I just want to say that this definitely is an inside job, and I don't think I'm crazy in saying this, because any layperson who was watching how President Trump was completely left unfazed, and how could these buildings that have rooftops within a shot distance of where President Trump was speaking be unattended and out of the perimeter. And then this 20-year-old loser just supposedly just knows where to go. How did he know where to go? He very casually went up on the rooftop. People were screaming on the rooftop. No law enforcement is trying to get him. And then he successfully shoots the president. And I think it's a complete failure. I think it was a tragedy, a complete failure. And if this is what the Secret Service really are, then I'm embarrassed for the country. And if you're telling me that the Secret Service that was around his body on the stage, they weren't questioning, hey, wait a second, why aren't those buildings in the distance being secured? This is all of America. This is on display.
This is it's madness. And stay with me, because here, and this is pretty interesting, because I heard, is it seconds? Is it minutes? How prior to the shooting did the shooter was the shooter spotted? And it's about 2 minutes. And actually, we have it here. You'll hear Donald Trump. You won't be able to see it, but there are like 4 videos, right? There's Donald Trump speaking. There's a cell phone video of the building in the back, right? It's all sequenced together, though. So all the videos, everything is happening at the same time, and they're all put together. So you'll hear the people saying, hey, there's a guy up there. There's a guy up there. At the same time, Trump is still speaking. Listen to this. It puts everything together, and how much time elapses before those shots. We'll time it together, actually. Ready? It's cut. Where is it? Cut 14. 3, 2, 1, go.
If he was doing his job, I wouldn't even be doing this. I'd be at some beautiful place with the gorgeous ocean, the Mediterranean,
look, they're all pointing.
The Atlantic, maybe the Pacific.
Yeah, someone's on top of the roof. Look. There he is right there. Right there, see him? He's laying down. See him?
Yeah, he's laying down.
And still I'm here with you fighting like hell to get a senator.
What's happening?
And to make sure we take back the White House, because if we do, we're going to make America better than ever before. We're going to make it.
Yeah, look.
And it's
there
not
he is.
easy, because we have millions and millions of people in our country that shouldn't be here. Dangerous people. Criminals. We have criminals, we have drug dealers, we have people that should not be here. And it's much tougher than if it happened to be. We're the strongest border ever. In recorded history, we're the best border. In fact, if they could ever put up a chart, I don't know if they can do it. Do you guys have access to that chart that I love so much? You don't mind if I go off teleprompter, do you? Because these teleprompters are so damn boring, I try and explain that. Oh, there's a, wow. You guys are doing it. They're getting better with time. My guys, take a look at that chart. Take a look at the arrow on the bottom. See the big red arrow, right? So that's when I left office. That was the lowest point, and that comes right from the government services, comes right out of Border Patrol. Take a look at that. So that arrow is the lowest amount of illegal immigration ever in recorded history into our country. And then the worst president in the history of our country took over. And look what happened to our country. Probably 20 million people. And you know, that's a little bit over that chart. That chart's a couple of months old. And if you want to really see something,
Stop. 2 minutes and 2 seconds. 2 minutes and 2 seconds from when those people observed to when those shots were fired. About 10 seconds after they were observed, they started calling police. Hey, police, police, police. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Are you freaking kidding me? 2 minutes? High ground? The snipers were looking right at the guy? Don't you have a, what is that thing called again? A walkie freaking talkie? Doesn't the president have a code name? You know, don't they call him Mogul or, you know, Star Stripe or something like that? They take Star Stripe out. Don't they have a code for that? Get him off the stage? Unbelievable. Linda, it is beyond incompetence. It's got to be. It's got to be. We don't know yet, but I mean, sometimes maybe we do. Maybe we do. And you listen to that Joe Biden, that son of a, the way he was speaking, the way he's been speaking, don't believe his calls for unity. Believe what he called for unity last night. For years, he's been ripping this country apart. Cut 16.
My fellow Americans, I want to speak to you tonight about the need for us to lower the temperature in our politics. And to remember, while we may disagree, we are not enemies. We're neighbors. We're friends, co-workers, citizens, and most importantly, we're fellow Americans. Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic.
I'd like to punch him in the face.
I said if we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him. We must stand together. A former president was shot, an American citizen killed, while simply exercising his freedom to support the candidate of his choosing.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country, and maybe there will be.
People need to start taking to the streets. This is a dictator.
You know, there needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
Enemies of the state.
When they go low, we kick them.
How do you resist the temptation to run up and wring her neck?
The biggest terror threat in this country is white men, most of them radicalized to the right.
I thought he should have punched him in the face.
All right. That gives you a sense, right? Doesn't it? It's amazing. This is a signal. This was all a signal to freaks like this Crooks guy and maybe even to deep state operatives who are currently employed by the federal government. Dick Cheney was with this director of the CIA for 6 years. Dick Cheney in his fake cowboy hat. Dick Cheney and his daughter. Dick Cheney invades the wrong country. The wrong freaking country. And he's still a man of influence. And no, I'm sorry. Let's go to Ron in Freeport. Yeah.
Hey, good afternoon. So in Nassau County exec Blakeman wants to put together deputized people that are, of course, vetted and everything to help in cases of emergency or where they're needed. And I believe that Trump should also have a vetted force of people who love him, who are vetted, who care about him, not just who have a job that they have to do it because it's a job, but because they actually give a damn. And they want to make sure that he's safe, that they follow, like I used to when I trumped for him the first time he went for president, went around and trumped for him and helped him get through, but on a safety level where people are watching out for rooftops, windows, and they are a coordinated effort of people put together by law enforcement and the Trump team.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, look, everything should be on the table because they failed so miserably. We got to find out some other solutions. Now, they have a version of what you're talking about already. They do. They actually have political people come in and volunteer to augment the Secret Service. They're not like given the most sensitive jobs. They may direct traffic or something like that, or just generally assist. But they do have some of that already. Maybe it needs to be expanded. I don't know. I'm not an expert. This is not my thing. But hey, there's something else you got to worry about too. You got to worry about the lone wolf government employee with a gun. I said it out loud when Donald Trump is going in and out of courtrooms, right? All over the place. You got court officers all over the place, right? I mean, you got police all over the place. Everybody has a gun. I mean, there are crazy people in all walks of life. And there are people who they're not crazy. They're just evil, who might do the bidding of the deep state. I don't know. But yeah, Ron, it's an intriguing idea. And they should be looking at everything. Thank you. Let's go to Nate. Hello.
Hello?
Yes, you're on the air.
Sorry about that. Hold on, let me get you on speaker.
Oh boy.
Sorry about that.
All right.
I'd like to reiterate my assertion that the intelligence agencies have their hands all over this attempted assassination. Insofar as that, just going back to the Kennedy era, all directions, all arrows pointed to the CIA, the DIA, the Pentagon, all the establishment agencies that would have the ability to assassinate a president, again, were against JFK when he was actually in office, in the brief time he was in office. And the same holds true for Trump. Remember what got Trump in trouble with the fake Steele dossier and Russiagate and all this nonsense? He wanted to reset relations with Russia, which is a very prudent thing to do insofar as that post-Cold War, post-collapse of the Soviet Union, Russia does not have a bellicose, belligerent policy towards the United States. And it's in our best interest to have amicable relations with the Russian Federation. Why? If for no other reason, they have the largest nuclear arsenal on the planet.
Hey, I get it. So does Trump. We want peace. You're right. He's been bucking the trend. He goes against the deep state. The deep state, though, is going against us. This is a democracy. It's supposed to be a constitutional republic ruled by the people. The men and women of the CIA don't run this place, but they think they do, it seems. They think they do. And you're right. The DNI, the NDI, all this crap, all this extra constitutional stuff that we have built. Millions and millions and millions of people appointed. They think they run. And you know what? They're kind of right. They are running the show. They are. You think our congressmen can go up there and get much done? You got 435 congressmen. 3 of them have power. 3. The rest are just social media clowns looking for attention. I mean, a 9,000-page omnibus bill. Are they going through that? We have. Talk about taxation without representation. Nate, thank you. It's all on the table. I agree. And they were trying, I didn't realize until recently that the deep state took out Richard Nixon. The deep state took out Richard Nixon. That Watergate thing was a deep state plot. I don't know why the hell it took me so long. This great guy named Nick Bryant wrote a book, The Truth About Watergate. No new research in that book. He just pulled together everything that we already know. That half of the burglars were CIA employees, for crying out loud. The CIA. They didn't like Nixon warming up to China. They didn't like him warming up to, guess what, Russia. He did those things, Nate. Just like Trump, wants peace. Peace is not good for business. I don't know. What are all these guys going to do when they get out of government? Who are they going to work for, right? Multinational corporations, arms dealers. Right? I don't want to name names, but there are major defense contractors and these generals and these analysts. They want to make a big fortune when they leave government. Oh, man, it all stinks, doesn't it? It really does stink. I'm out of time. Wait. No, we still don't know the VP pick, but it could be coming any minute. I'll be right back.
Greg Kelly. This is the Greg Kelly Show.
All right, we don't have a VP nomination yet, but it could happen any second. I mean, Speaker Mike Johnson just gave a speech, and that means they're warming up for something big. Actually, that's kind of a big name, and I know it's daytime, but we expect it any second now. Who the next vice president nominee is going to be, and probably vice president along there with Trump. History, potential president. So, you know what? I said that basically everybody in Congress is a clown except for 3 guys. I got to expand the list, all right? It's more than 3 guys who are good. You know, who do we like? We like Jim Jordan. We like Matt Gaetz. We like D'Esposito, great guy from Long Island, former cop, real expert on law enforcement matters. We like, there are plenty of guys we like, but it's probably Anna Paulina Luna is turning into a real superstar who knows her stuff. I love it. All right. Got to get out of here. I'm going to be doing some convention stuff. Barbara is standing by. Oh, Barbara, thank you for being with us. What's on your mind today?
Well, when this happened and Trump was shot, one of the first things that came to my mind was the many times that you had talked on your radio show about the danger of the language that was being used by the politicians, by the president, by Judge Ludig, et cetera, calling Trump and all of us a clear and present danger, because I didn't like hearing you say that, but I knew you were right, and you were right. And there's another person who believed with you even 7 years ago. There was supposed to be an art exhibit proposed that was titled "The Assassination of Donald J. Trump as Made Glorious by the Mainstream Media." Now, can you believe that? That was Phelim McAleer, who just did the October 7th play in Manhattan about the attacks on Israel. He was planning to do this art exhibit about the assassination of Donald J. Trump, because already 7 years ago, there was so much going on in the mainstream media. For example, we all remember Kathy Griffin and the decapitated Trump head that she would exhibit. We remember Madonna at a Trump rally saying that she was thinking often about blowing up the White House. And then we remember the outrageous performance in the park, in Central Park in New York City, the performance of Julius Caesar, where Trump was Julius Caesar and was assassinated on stage. And so I read this article now that Phelim has written about what happened with the assassination attempt of Trump. And he goes back and he says already 7 years ago, there was so much being openly said and done in the front of the public that threatened Donald Trump's very life.
Wow. Well, he's a great patriot and artist, and you're a great patriot. And I'm sure you're pretty good at doodling and drawing, too. What do you do besides protect our country, Barbara?
I love my family. I do everything.
You're amazing, Barbara. To be continued, everybody. Stay tuned. Vice presidential news imminently.